Hi there, thank you so much for joining me here today. My name is Andrea Horvath. I am most predominantly on LinkedIn for my social media, but I have been wanting to do longer videos, so I've reenacted an old YouTube account so I can start sharing some more content to really provide value to anybody who's in that place right now who is feeling kind of lost in their careers, so looking for a change, are not really sure what to do, or feeling kind of stuck. So thank you again for joining me here. So I really want to start this first conversation off with what's really going on at a high level and actually at a really deep level at the same time. We've all seen now for a number of months, we've seen this great resignation where people are leaving their jobs, looking for something new. And then there's also a number of you who haven't left your jobs, but are feeling really unsatisfied. And you know, I haven't read a lot on what others feel like the reasons are, simply because I'm actually talking to people and I know what people are looking for just through conversations and just an understanding of what's going on at a higher level. So the last few days, I actually wanted to see what others were saying about, you know, the reasons for this. And there's lots of different reasons floating out there. You know, people are looking for a better corporate culture, or they're looking for better pay, better communicating managers, better leadership. There's all kinds of reasons that are being given right now to help explain what's going on. And, you know, for some people, those may be the reasons, but I really want to dig a little bit deeper because there is something bigger happening here. Now, if we all look at the last 2 years, we can see the world is undergoing a massive shift, a massive transformation. How do we know that? Well, there's been chaos. Chaos always precedes transformation. We look out through history, not only in our own personal lives, but in the world at large. That's how things go. Let's face it. People don't usually change unless they're forced to. Well, what has the last couple of years really brought? A lot of chaos and a lot of change. So many of you have spent some time in the last couple of years really reflecting, doing some inner work, and really tapping into and exploring what is working in your life and what isn't. That's one of the gifts when life does slow down a little bit, which it has for many of us, is if we use that time wisely, we can actually do it to really reflect and then realign ourselves. So many of you have taken that time and have done this. And what you may be noticing is that your career does not feel like it's in alignment with you anymore. And I want to explain how that might look for you, because it kind of shows up in different ways. And one of these ways may resonate with you. So you may have been working in a career for a number of years, worked your way up, and you discover that you actually just don't want to advance anymore. Like you're just kind of done. You may be working in a company, an organization, or just, you know, corporate culture overall, and you're beginning to question things. So things you may have accepted a couple of years ago, you're now finding it hard to accept. You know, so much of what goes on in our world is this notion of what is normal. Okay, I'm not a fan of the word normal, because what it essentially means is that it is just widely accepted. Well, just because something is widely accepted doesn't mean it's healthy, doesn't mean it's good for the human spirit, doesn't mean it's empowering and all those things. It just means it's widely accepted. So you may be working somewhere in an environment, in an industry, in a profession, where there's all these things that are just considered normal, and you're sitting there going, these don't feel normal, these don't feel good, I don't like this, I don't resonate with this, and I'm really finding it hard to continue to try to fit into this, to accept it. You know, we're looking at things like values. So you could be looking at the values of the people you are surrounded by and your leadership. Do they have integrity? That's a big one right now. Do they have integrity? Are they authentic? Are they more interested in the bottom line than the well-being of the people entrusted with them. It could come looking like that. Or you could realize that you've changed so much in the last couple of years that the person you were a couple of years ago simply isn't the same person. You just don't align anymore, you know? Or you think to yourself, I just need to find a new job. I'm just gonna go find a new job and I'll fix this, you know, dissatisfaction that I have. So you go looking for a job, you get a new job, you're there for 6 months or a year, you realize it's not for you. You then look for another one and you go through this cycle where you're switching jobs, switching companies, you're just moving around, you're trying to find something. And you know, what all these things have in common is essentially what has been working so far for many of you isn't working anymore. It's just not. And not little things. Like it's not about, you know, going to a company and getting an extra perk or getting a bit of an extra salary or getting some more vacation time. It's not what it's about. It's not what it's about at all. It's at a much deeper level. This whole structure, the whole system isn't aligning with you anymore. So then the question becomes, then if it doesn't align, then what? And I know many of you are in that position where you're going, okay, so I don't align here anymore. It feels kind of uncomfortable that I don't align here anymore because this is where everybody else is over here and I'm over here going, I don't feel like I fit there. So where do I fit? Well, what's happening? What's really happening? We are being offered the opportunity to change things at a much deeper level. This is not about companies just improving their culture a little bit, you know, implementing some well-being policies or some programs. That's all great. And I'm not saying those are not valuable things, 100%. But it's at a deeper level. It's looking at the top-down structure that exists. Is that still working? Was it ever working? I argue it didn't ever really work great for everybody. I mean, it had some benefits. But is that structure still working? Ask yourself, really truly ask yourself, what kind of freedom do you want? I think that's one of the most important questions we can ask right now. That is one of the things that I find with people is they're looking for freedom, freedom over their time, freedom over their schedule, freedom over their energy, freedom over their creativity, what they're creating, freedom over who they're working with. I mean, how many of you are tired of tolerating toxic cultures and working with people who are just, they're not showing up in the way that you need them to, really, truly? So where do you sit with that? Because that's the questions that I know many of you are getting to. You're starting to sort of tap into this. You know, I want more freedom. I want the ability to make decisions. I don't want to feel like I am tied to something else. I'm tired of chasing titles. I'm tired of chasing promotions. I'm tired of being this person when I go to work or in my corporate and professional life. That's so different to who I really am, just so I can fit in, just so I can move ahead. You know, there's this real deep calling for authenticity, and you might be feeling that. One of the things that we're really, really pivoting away from is this whole notion of achievement over everything else. And you know what? I'm a huge fan of achievement. I love accomplishment and I love achievements. So it's not like we're moving away from it completely. But what's happening is that we're moving away from it, having it be the end all be all. The achievement, the goal. You know, there's an expression that I really don't like. I'm going to share it with you because I actually think this really encompasses this whole notion. Have you heard the expression? I'm sure you have. The end justifies the means. Think about that. The end justifies the means. That's how we've been running. That's how our world has been running. The end justifies the means. Well, who decided that? Who decided the end justifies the means? How is that ever okay? So what it's really saying is it doesn't really matter our experience, how we feel, how we treat people, how we do anything, as long as we get to our goal. And isn't that exhausting? Does that feel good? It doesn't feel good to me. So we're moving away from that idea that it's just all about the end goal. So you could be sitting there thinking to yourself, I just want to enjoy my day. I actually want to do work and I want to feel fulfilled and joyful while I'm doing it. Is it too much to ask for? You know, and I think sometimes we get to that point where like, it doesn't feel like it's too much to ask for, but when we look at the world around us, it kind of does. But is it really? It's not. To feel like you're contributing, to feel like you're valued, to feel like you have some control over your life, and you're not just, like I said, chasing something that somebody or some system has told you is what you should be chasing. No, we want to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, one of the things I know many of us have really reflected on in this past 2 years is we really only have this moment of now. I mean, how many of us, most of us, well, all of us, I guess, really, on some level, had our lives dramatically changed in a flash of a minute? Think about it. How fast things went into shutdown, how things dramatically changed. We really only have this moment. We can keep shooting towards the future all we want, but that's just taking away from this moment of now. So many of you are looking at your moment of now and you're going, I'm not happy now. I don't feel fulfilled now. When am I going to? Is there some date way out here? Maybe one day? Is that good enough? It doesn't feel good enough to me. And I'm thinking if you're watching this video right now still, it's not good enough for you. And so this is one of the massive shifts we're making. We're moving away. And so if you're working in a company that is not concerned about, maybe things like the well-being of their employees, operating in integrity and ethics, having morals, doing what's right, caring about the environment, caring about animals, caring about all the, important issues, poverty, disease, all these things at a really holistic level, you might be feeling really out of alignment with them. You might be finding it really hard to stay working there. And that's because that end goal can't be kept the highest level of importance anymore. We are making that shift. That shift is happening right now. And how do I know that? First of all, I speak to a lot of you. I know this shift is happening. And I can see it evidence through the Great Resignation. It's just a symptom, right? And we've got all these logical reasons why it's happening, but I'm going to argue it goes much deeper than any of the reasons that we're sort of coming up with, like pay, salary. And also, we've just gone through massive, massive chaos in the last 2 years. And like I said, chaos is always an invitation, an opportunity. And really, it's knocking at our doors saying, world, people, you need to change. Isn't that what it is? At its core, it's inviting us. And I use the word inviting us, but it's really imploring us. We need to change. So, in summary, what I really want to say to you who's watching this, first of all, if you are feeling some of what I'm talking about, first of all, know that you are not alone, okay? You may not have somebody in your immediate family, friend group, professional group who's feeling the same way, and you might be feeling to yourself, oh my gosh, am I going crazy? No, you're not. You're not. And it can feel that way. I get it. When you start to question some of the beliefs you've had, question what's going on around you, you can feel a little different because, again, you're fighting against that what's normal notion, right? Second of all, we are in uncharted territory. So as a collective, we are in uncharted territory and likely within you as an individual. So just know that. There's going to be moments where there is confusion, and part of this process is just being okay in some of that confusion, right? Humans love predictability. We really do. For some reason, when we don't feel like we can predict the future, we decide that the future is scary and worse than what we have right now. That's just a belief that a lot of humanity has picked up. But is it true? I don't think so. You ask yourself, does that feel like truth to you? Just because you don't know the future, does it mean it's scary? It's all about one step at a time, really. Isn't that how life changes? It's one step at a time. We don't need to have the next 10 years planned out for us. We may have had the last 30 planned out for us, but the next 10 don't need to be. We need to know the next step. Yes, a vision as well, of course, always a vision. But truthfully, when you're making change, you've got a plan, some ideas loosely in the short term, and then it evolves and it grows. As truly as you move along, it evolves. And that's what's happening, and that's what's going to happen, and that's how this is going to all unfold. And I'll say thirdly, if you are still watching this video, this means that you are one of these people. You are one of the people who are going to be leading this change. And that might scare you a little bit, it might excite you a little bit, or anywhere in between. But you have a role in this. You wouldn't be feeling these things unless you did. It's just as simple as that. That's the way life works. So I am going to wrap up by saying, if you are right now feeling this way and you are feeling stuck, not sure what to do next, I am offering free 30-minute laser coaching sessions that I can help get you the next step to help you move forward. I do have a whole program, but first of all, sometimes we just need that immediate relief of knowing the next step. And even just talking to somebody who kind of gets it. I feel like when I talk to people the first time I talk to them, there's a sense of relief that somebody else knows what you might be feeling. And that's a lot of the reason why I'm wanting to make more content, because I do know it can feel quite alone. Again, like I said, if you feel like you are the only person around you who is feeling these things. So if you do need some extra support, you can DM me if you're on LinkedIn. And if you are on YouTube, you can actually comment below, or you can go to my website, which is andreahorvath.com, and you can actually get my email address. I'll also put my email address below, or you can actually also go to my website and you can actually book a call with me directly on there through my calendar. So if you are feeling stuck and alone, don't stay stuck and alone. Honestly, don't. It's we're going to be creating this change together, and that's part of this whole thing, is we're going to be moving together. And I actually have goosebumps as I say that, because I know we are on the precipice of creating, you and me, creating something really amazing and making really, really positive changes on this earth. So I will leave this video here. I hope it's truly helped. I'm wishing you to have the most fantastic, fabulous day, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.